Yeah, we got fresh meat. This is KD Drummond of bloggingtheboys.com, and it's time to recap the 2014 NFL Draft for your Dallas Cowboys. It was an exciting weekend. I hunkered down, I got bottled water, I got all my food, I locked myself here in the man cave for 72 hours, and I'm just coming up for air and loving what I see. The Cowboys have put together a very strong draft if you look into it from the point of view of what they can do long term and not just in the immediate. Obviously, everybody knows that the defense was horrible last year and they needed to improve that significantly in order for them to have a chance this season. But people go into the draft with the wrong expectation that the only focus is filling holes for this year, and that gives them the mentality that you're supposed to say, oh, my biggest need is defensive end. I must get a defensive end with my first round pick. My second need is defensive tackle. That must be my second round pick. That's not how teams do it. That's not how successful teams do it. You get the best player available. You hope that he fills an immediate need, but as long as he fills a need for your team, then it's a quality pick. That's how we started in the first round with Zach Martin, offensive lineman from Notre Dame. Great pick. I had him ranked 9th on my board. I had 155 players ranked. He was ranked 9th. Great versatility. He can line up interior, exterior, right tackle, right guard, left guard, play some center. He can pretty much do anything that you want on the professional level, but he will be an award-winning player at the guard position. He's tremendously intelligent. Him next to Travis Frederick. The Cowboys are not going to get fooled by stunts and twists anymore. He's great as a zone blocking guy, gets to the second level, seeks and destroys a guy on the second level, knocks a linebacker out of the play. You're going to be impressed with what Zach Martin can do for this Cowboys offense. Automatically starting to rebuild the Great Wall of Dallas. The second pick, it got a little tricky because the Cowboys maneuvered at the beginning of the day to move up in a trade with the Washington Redskins to pick 34. They gave up their third round pick. They did lose on the trade value chart. I'm a little bit apprehensive about that in such a deep draft. There were so many players that could help the Cowboys, but they targeted this guy as the one guy that could actually be a right defensive end for them, which is obviously your speed guy, your edge rusher that you want to go seek and destroy the quarterback. They thought that he was the last of the Mohicans, so they did what they had to do to go up and get him. I can't argue with that. We won't be mad if he turns out to being a dynamic player for the Cowboys. On day 3 in the 4th round, they made a questionable pick in Anthony Hitchens, linebacker out of Iowa. He's only been playing linebacker a couple years. He was pretty much off of the radar of most people that scouted during the offseason. 6th round, 7th round type of pick. It was very questionable as far as what he could do in order to impact the Cowboys. But he does have some dynamic plays on his resume. He just looks a little confused as far as what to do because he's been a linebacker for such a short period of time. The Cowboys made up for it, giving up one of their 7th round picks to move up in the 5th round to select wide receiver Devin Street out of University of Pittsburgh. Tall dude, 6'3.5". He has a huge catch radius. He'll catch everything, very soft hands. You'll see him do it. He has a little bit of inconsistency as far as his effort. That's part of the question, and we'll have to see what Derek Dooley, the wide receivers coach, can get out of him. But all in all, he's a dynamic guy, compete for the 3rd wide receiver position. You could really see this wide receiver core being such a strength for the Cowboys that they're now able to go 5 deep like other teams in the league with explosive cores like New Orleans and Green Bay and teams like that. Following that, the Cowboys dedicated themselves to defense. They went with Ben Gardner, who played for Stanford. Stanford runs a multiple defense. He's normally a 3-4 defensive end. He slides out to being a strong side guy for the Cowboys in the 4-3. He does have the ability to get interior pressure. His production ratio was extremely high in college. If you have above a 1.5 production ratio, that means that you're pretty much an elite rushing talent, and he had a 1.55. So we could easily see him doing very well for the Cowboys. They also got Will Smith, inside linebacker, for Texas Tech. He's a violent dude. He's very aggressive, and that's pretty much the theme of what the Cowboys did in the 7th round. They got violent, aggressive defenders. We can see him. He's a very solid blitzer. He does struggle a bit against the run, but we'll work with that because, Cowboys are all about pass rush. Following that, they selected Ahmad Dixon, the safety out of Baylor. Crushing tackler. Crushing tackler. You really want to put his highlight tape on because this dude lays the wood whenever he gets the opportunity. He's going to be a box safety. He's not the center fielder we needed, but he will kind of be that hybrid linebacker safety guy that Barry Church was before he blossomed into the player that he's become for the Cowboys. Following that, they took Ken Bishop, a one-technique guy, another violent guy with violent hands. He can definitely take on the double team. He can do everything that you want a one technique to do to occupy space so that your 3 other rush guys can go after the quarterback. And then the Cowboys finished everything off by selecting Terrence Mitchell, who was the find of all finds in the 7th round. Some people had him rated as a top 10 cornerback in this draft. He is a perfect zone cornerback. Last season, he had 5 interceptions, 12 pass breakups. All in all, just a tremendous guy. Good jump timing. He's going to be a great fit into the hierarchy that the Cowboys have at the cornerback position. Dallas came into the draft 51 players strong. They drafted 9. They signed a bunch of undrafted free agents that are very worth noting. Chris Whaley out of Texas, Devon Coleman out of Arizona State to add to the defensive line. LaDamian Washington, Chris Boyd, a wide receiver. Exciting times. All in all, if you ask me, I don't do grades, but if I have to give a grade for this team, I'd give them a numerical grade of 2016, because that's when you're supposed to make a decision on how a draft class went. I don't care what people say as soon as the draft is over. It doesn't matter. Wait till you see these guys in training camp. Wait till you give them a couple years to develop. That's when you know whether you have a good thing. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, SBN Blogging the Boys. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at KDP10for10. That's at KDP10for10. And on the main Blogging the Boys account at Blogging the Boys. Once again, I'm KD Drummond. Salute.